Welcome to the BTC Power booth. You may not know the name BTC Power, but if you're like us, you're probably charged at one of their chargers. This company has such a rich history here in Southern California. They were the first DC fast charger in America. There's a lot more to tell about their story. We're going to learn all about it right now. Well, we know BTC Power because we're the nerds that when we pull up to a charging station, we look and see who makes it. We've charged at them a lot. If you watch any of our road trip videos, go back and look and you'll know which ones are BTC Power. But tell us about BTC Power, because prior to this year, a lot of people don't even know you guys exist.
A lot of people didn't know we exist. That's right. So thank you for being aware of us and for actually looking and knowing where to look. BTC is actually the first. That's what a lot of people don't realize. We had the first DC charger in North America, which I think is just a great story to tell. But up until this year, we didn't even put our brand or our logo on our chargers. We really like our customers and our partners to shine. We know that for the end user and for the driver, it's about the CPO and the network that they're going to be using. But with the way that the market is now, I think it's important that people also recognize who's making their hardware and where their hardware is coming from. We've been around for 26 years in different facets of the industry. We've been making chargers since about 2005. We started the forklift charging company, or purchased a forklift charging company, and kind of evolved over the years into what we do now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And those are some key aspects, because there's a lot of companies coming in. We're here at ACT Expo. There's a lot of companies from all around the world.
Yeah.
But BTC Power is truly an American company. You do have some facilities overseas, but you also have manufacturing here to meet those requirements.
We do. So just like anybody, we do have some overseas manufacturing in Cebu, Philippines to, manage that high volume manufacturing. But we are US based. Our founders are here. We're all Southern California based.
Yeah.
And we do our Buy America manufacturing right here in Irvine, California, which is just 10 minutes from where we are now. And that's our headquarters. That's where we are every day. That's where my office is. And that's where our founders' offices are. Our CEO is still there in the weeds with us every single day. We have our CTO, Chief Technical Officer, who has been building these chargers from the ground up. He's there in the weeds with us every day. We're a team. We work hand in hand, and not everybody can say that they work directly with their C-suite on a daily basis, but we do, and it's fantastic. It really keeps the quality and the product of the chargers the way that it should be.
Yeah, and you're not like a giant company.
Nope.
That's not on the stock market, but you have funding.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not publicly owned and operated. We're not owned by stockholders, right? And that's something that we know gives people a little bit more peace of mind, having that financial stability. We're owned by one of the largest utility companies in Europe. And so there's a financial backing there, and there's security there. We are a company that gives you that stability. So that when you're buying from us, we're not just going to exit the market in the next year or two. Our stock's not going to fail. We're here. We're secure. We're here for you.
And there's a financial investment there, but there is really and truly a lot of personal investment from people that have been around for years.
Yeah, it's 26 years ago. The company was founded April of 1999, so actually exactly 26 years ago. And I know we talked to some of our other team members who have been with us for years, and you've talked to our legacy, one of our legacies. So there is a lot of family. There's wives, spouses, in-laws even, brothers, sisters. There's a lot of family and unity actually in the company, which really speaks high volumes that people believe in it so much that they recommend the company to their loved ones that have joined us. And actually, the more that you look, and I've been with the company 3 years, and I now see, I'm like, oh, that's that person's kid, and oh, that's that person's, in-law, and there's something really special to be said about that. And it feels really good to be a part of a company like that.
Yeah, it's not very common these days. Everybody thinks about it as the big corporations, and everybody just moves on. You spend 2 years, 3 years at a company, and you move on, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, it doesn't seem to be the case. We stay for years and years. You met with Don, who's been with the company 17 years since the beginning, selling a completely different product.
Yeah.
But he's still with us to this day and works with us on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And I think the other thing is I've noticed is it seems like everybody's willing to do whatever it takes to make the company a success.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is your product, this is your function, and that's all you do. You can sort of like spread your wings, you can contribute.
We all wear a lot of hats. We're all in it together. We all support each other from the product management side, the sales side, service and engineering. If there's something that's needed, we do roll up our sleeves and get it done to make sure, So for being as big of a company as we are, we have that 25% market share. We're not small, but we're done by a very strong, close, unified team.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes to who we are.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like you really have this combination of being like a small family oriented, and by family, it's like the company is family.
Yeah.
But you have that's a really big presence.
Yeah.
Like we see a lot of companies here, and there's a lot of companies that we never necessarily heard of like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
You guys have been around and you have a big market share.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like if you watch any of our videos, you've seen us at a BTC Power charger.
Not everybody realizes that, but that's cool that you do, because we're here, and we've been here and we're not going anywhere.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're here at ACT Expo.
Yep.
I know it's an exciting time. 2025 is a little bit crazy so far.
Yes, definitely.
But again, it's like you guys have this history. So you've been through the ups and the downs. And,
Definitely.
And this year may be a mixed bag. But basically, bottom line, the environment may change. Maybe BTC Power is here to stay.
Exactly.
Get you through that.
Exactly. We're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. We're secure, financially backed. We're a stable company, and we're loved.
And good products.
And great products. We've got that 98% uptime. We have a 90% plug-in success rate. Like we're killing it in the market right now.
Awesome. Let me introduce you now to Dave. You're one of the co-founders, and one of the things that multiple people have told us is like, you're a co-founder, you're C-suite, but you like to get out in the field too, right?
Absolutely. I like to really keep my hands on the chargers. I run our team of field techs and our customer service team, and I think it's really important to be out there and see what's happening, see the sites, and just keep in touch with what's going on. And really incredible to see over the years now, where we used to have a real hard time when we fixed a charger because we couldn't test it. We couldn't rent an EV and the customers weren't there. At this point now, our problem is the customers are upset if we have to shut it down to do any maintenance, because there's a line of cars and just the utilization is through the roof right now. And it's just great to see, especially out here on the West Coast, the number of EVs using our chargers is just phenomenal. So
we've used a lot of them over the years, and it's really cool to see. Like, I think the story that we've been hearing is like BTC Power's been around for a while. You guys are learning from experience, and to me, like as an EV owner, I think it's really cool that you're one of the co-founders and you're out there like getting that real experience that I'm assuming you're learning from.
I'm learning, I'm talking to drivers, listening to how their experience is, and taking that back to the shop to talk to the guys and see, okay, how can we make this better? What can we do different to better serve the drivers? Because people are counting on these chargers to be working now. And our latest generation of equipment, we're seeing incredibly high availability. And like I said, the usage is just, it used to be a, single digit usage percent, and now they're 50, 60, 70% usage at some sites where you just have lines of people ready to use them. So
yeah, we visited some of those sites, especially in the urban areas. They're just getting so much usage nowadays. It's great to see, but it's also like very, very taxing on the equipment and can be frustrating for the drivers.
Well, and it's good to see a lot of our customers are expanding their sites, going with bigger sites, and really listening to the customers who want to just be able to pull in and charge, know the charger's going to work, and know they can get in and get out without a hassle. So
now, from personal experience, we've had our car for now getting close to 4 years. It seems like reliability is getting better. Part of that is as you're getting deep, all the companies are getting deeper into this, but like new generations are better at reliability, also better at maintenance.
For sure. Our latest generation of equipment, we, from the service team, had a seat at the table from the very beginning, clean sheet design. And we said, how do we fix that? What do we do if this breaks? And we tried to make everything very serviceable and cut down the time it takes, make everything very modular. So rather than taking things things apart and trying to tinker with it. You sliding out a module, you slide in the new module, and that module gets fixed back at the shop if needed. And we're seeing greater than 98% availability from a lot of our networks of new chargers right now. So it's just great to see, and we're trying to overcome that, I can't get a charge when I need it, and it's really working.
The other thing, just talking from people that work here, they really do talk about, like, it's really great to see, like a co-founder that's willing to go out in the field, but that it's like a family atmosphere. Some people have their family involved, but it's also just a big, nice family effort to get this done.
Absolutely. The three individuals who we all kind of started this together, that was 20 years ago, but we've worked together almost 35 years.
Wow.
So kind of my entire adult career, I've worked with the same folks, with Frank and with Carlos, and so we kind of all grew up together, and it is really neat and definitely a family environment. So.
And you guys are like truly invested in the company. It's not just cash. It's like this is like your blood,
This is my
sweat,
baby,
tears.
yeah.
Exactly.
This is when I drive by the site and see all the chargers lit up green and see everybody charging, I mean, that's really a source of pride for me, and is really why I work hard every day to make sure we're doing our job and the chargers are getting installed right and they're all working.
And they're all up and running. And
all up and running, and they need a lot less intervention now to keep them up and running. So the number of service calls is down on a per charger basis. We're getting a lot more chargers installed, so we're growing our service team and our network to be able to get anywhere in the country quickly and service them.
And training a lot of people. I've heard your training programs are booked out months in advance.
Our Academy of Charging Education is beautiful. Our ACE training, it's really a lovely facility, and folks should stop by and check it out and sign up for a training class. So.
Well, we're planning on giving a tour of that at some point, that we have to schedule at some point. But yeah, we'd love to check that out and sort of show like the real work that's going behind all of this, like just metal equipment, but there's a lot behind it.
For sure. It'd be great to give you guys a tour of the factory. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, we can't talk to BTC Power without talking about their hardware. So we have Shahir that's going to tell us all about some of your equipment, the Gen 4, right?
Yeah. So this is actually our 180 all-in-one. So our Gen 4 product line is built around modularity, and our power modules essentially are what we based our entire Gen 4 product line around. And this is our 180 kilowatt. So this has it's actually an all-in-one product where everything is here in the enclosure.
This cabinet, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you actually don't need a separate power cabinet. Everything is here so that what you see is what you get. And when it comes to construction costs and fees, what it does is it allows you to minimize your costs by having all the infrastructure from the power, the power rectification that comes in as from AC to DC power to get that fast power charge. You get it all in one cabinet. You don't need a separate cabinet. You don't have a separate dispenser. It's all in one. And then a very nice thing about this product is that it meets the Cali VIP requirements. There's a lot of incentives that go out. BTC really goes out of its way to make sure that we hit the incentives. As you can see, the Buy American compliant logo just came up, and that's because there are a lot of incentives that are based around that. So we do have a Buy American compliant version of the 180. We make sure that we hit all of the requirements from OCPP 2.0.1 to ISO 15118, and all that is just to say that really our hardware is bulletproofed and is made in a way that we make sure that we hit all of the government incentives.
Basically, all the checkboxes are there. Plug and play, speed requirements, amperage requirements.
That is correct. Yeah, and we actually have these liquid-cooled cables go up to 450 amps. And then we'll also have the J3400 connector. So not only will we have the CCS connector, we'll have the NACS connector as well, which is the new standard that people are moving forward with in order to charge like Tesla vehicles and everybody who has that connector.
And it's basically basically customer configurable. So they could go with 2 CCS if they want, but they could go 1-in-1. They could go 2 J3400. They could upgrade.
That is correct. That is correct. So you can upgrade in the field if you wanted to switch from a CCS connector to a NACS connector. That does have some finesse that comes with it, so we don't necessarily recommend it, but it is possible. And yeah, it's fully configurable where you can choose which options you'd like. And speaking of options, actually, you see this beautiful 32-inch screen.
Yeah.
Very big. It's really nice for the convenience stores who want to advertise and promote maybe maybe there's an energy drink and you're at a gas station, they want to promote it, saying, hey, buy 2 get 1 free, or however they want to do it, right? But it does come with a standard 15-inch screen, so this 32-inch is optional.
So again, leaving it up to the customer to decide sort of what they want, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, this is 180 kilowatt. This isn't the only configuration that you have in Gen 4. You have different power levels based off of what the customer needs.
Correct. So if a customer wanted a higher power output, especially per port, we can actually go to a split system. So that is where you have a separate power cabinet and a separate dispenser. Essentially the separation allows us to do, or the power cabinet itself allows us to do power rectification up to 360 kilowatts. So this is the 180. It can do basically double the power output.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping to come by and check out the facility that's nearby. Like we're down here in SoCal.
Absolutely.
So we'd love to see like all of the options at some point. This is really cool. I like the big screen. Now, one of the things that we've seen in the past and older generations is the screens can get not damaged, but like sun spots or whatever.
Yeah. We make sure that we have high grade screens to make sure that we actually don't have the sunspots, and we have our chargers kind of everywhere. We've worked with automotive manufacturers who really abuse their chargers. They have chargers at end of line, so these chargers are high usage. They're in a manufacturing facility where they're constantly charging, plugging in and out. They're in some of the harshest conditions in all of America, from extreme colds to extreme heat. So we have these chargers everywhere to ensure reliability, and it just really goes to show that we stand most environments.
Now, something that we won't really notice as an EV driver, or we shouldn't, the maintenance in Gen 4 has been improved as well, so that it's like easier for the tech. So when something does happen, because things will happen, it's easier for it to be maintained. Is that correct as well?
Absolutely. So we used to have these, and we called it our previous generation. It was these 50 kilowatt power modules that I believe were about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Now we have these 30 kilowatt power modules that are about yay big, and it's 4 screws that you unscrew, you pull out a power module. It's very light. I think it's 30 pounds actually, and then you swap it out basically on what looks like almost a server rack, and it's a very easy to swap. You and I could do that without any experience.
And chargers back up and ready a lot quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful system. Well, this is really cool. Like I said, we're gonna schedule a visit, come by your facility so that we can see some of these, on display in the different configurations. But thanks for sharing with this one with us today here at ACT Expo.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right.
Pleasure.
Next, we get a treat because we're going to talk to Don. You've been with BTC Power for 17 years.
Yes, I believe that's true. I think it was 2006, 2007 when I first started.
Now, there's no way possible that BTC Power was making DC fast chargers 17 years ago. So you want to tell us a little bit about like the pre-DC charging days for BTC Power?
Well, it's interesting because we actually were. We had developed, BTC Power was a company that actually was involved in the internet backbone days, late 90s, early 2000s, and our owner was an investor in BTC Power. They ended up going bankrupt, and he ended up buying the company out because they had some intellectual property that he thought was valuable. but they were in a commodity business. So what our owner ended up doing is repositioning the company so it would be in more of a have more of a competitive advantage, so to speak. And he ended up having them build DC fast chargers for forklifts that had 2007, 2008, and they'd probably have the dates more accurately than I do.
Yeah.
But we ended up probably building 15,000 DC fast chargers for forklifts.
I never knew.
We never did any commercial.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, around 2012, our CTO, Carlos Cortez, basically started moving into the commercial EV arena.
Yeah.
And so we did build the first DC fast charger for electric vehicles and had it deployed in California at a company that owned shopping malls all over the state of California. They were called Irvine Company. And so we had the first DC fast charger in North America
That's so cool.
deployed. But we did end up building DC fast chargers for forklifts.
Well, I was just, of course, we focus a lot on, EV drivers like me.
Correct.
But I don't even think about, like, there are other electric uses before cars.
Yeah, and forklifts were very interesting. It was a very static kind of solution. It didn't change much.
Right.
It's similar to what Tesla and what their chargers do.
Yeah.
They only charge one vehicle, one set of software, one set of firmware, and so they work very, very well. That's how the forklift industry was. Getting into the commercial EV market is a different animal because you have, back when we first started, there were only like 4 different models.
Right.
You had the Nissan Leaf, you had a couple of other EVs. Now, I don't even know how many because there's so many being introduced every year. I think there's somewhere between 80 and 95 different EV models.
I had ChatGPT try to like make me a list of all the EV models, and it kept coming up with different numbers. So I think that's about right.
Yeah, and then what you have to do is you have to interop test with each of those OEMs.
Yeah.
Because there's nuances, and sometimes it's the EV OEM that has to change like firmware or something to allow people like us to charge it,
Right.
which is now the industry is huge. Back then there were only probably 3 or 4 charging station companies.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very, very small. Now if you walk around here and you just everywhere you look, you have a charging station company, and you do have all the competitors coming in from overseas. European, they're coming in.
We're seeing a lot of those.
You have a lot of the Asian, Korean, Taiwanese, Chinese, they're all coming in. So the market's really exploding for EV OEMs.
But I think one of the advantages that BTC Power has is, one, American company here in the U.S. this whole time. And you have that history. So it's like going from forklifts to the early days of DC fast charging.
Correct.
You want to talk about like how that's helped BTC Power?
Well, it really,
all of these, the 80 different vehicles, and
well, it gave us a good core base of knowledge to move into the commercial EV market and supply DC fast chargers for general drivers, like yourself. We're able to take all the learning we had and apply it to this new market or new vertical, which we've been very lucky to be in this industry now for 13 years. I mean, just in the commercial EV side. And we've got great engineering. We've got incredibly intelligent resources that are dedicated to improving the product. And, we're looking, we just introduced our Gen 4, probably 2.5 years ago. And, they were already looking at Gen 5. Where's the technology going to lead us now? And it's becoming more reliable. It's becoming more efficient. It's becoming more streamlined. You know, back when we first introduced our first DC fast charger, it was every bit as big as that model there, and it was only a 25 kilowatt output.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things are moving along at light years here, and we're blessed to be able to stay at the forefront.
Yeah, and I think it really is something important to have an American company out here doing this with that history, sort of like combining all of that. And everybody thinks like fast charging is easy. It's just like, you know, you plug in your toaster and it just works. But a lot goes into meeting the standards, testing it, and it's, you know, the car can be compatible, the charger can be compatible, but there's a lot of testing that you have to do to make sure it actually works.
Oh, incredible amounts. I mean, there's, before you even go and take your product to UL/ETL, one of the national testing laboratories, we test it ad nauseum. I mean, we have so much vested into the product design, and it takes a long time before it's ready to go.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, a very long time. So we're constantly, I mean, I would consider us more of a new product development company, because that's what we're constantly doing. We're constantly coming out with newer products, improving upon the existing products, and also looking at the customer. What do they need? You know, we're always asking voice of customer.
Yeah.
You know, and the ironic thing is everyone wants bigger, higher output, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been the same thing for probably 4 or 5 years, as you're constantly developing higher output products. You know, it was, you know, just 6 years ago when we introduced our first really high output DC fast charger.
Right.
And now, you know, we're working on the next higher output. A lot of the development is going on with other competitors too. So we have to constantly stay at the forefront. So, you know, we feel we're a leader in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned they're on Gen 4 right now, or you're on Gen 4 right now. In addition to increasing speeds from one generation to the next, it seems like there's better reliability, but better maintenance. Just basically the overall product is getting better as well.
Yeah, I mean, things like the power modules have been improved from the early days, like 6 years ago. They're smaller, they're more reliable. You know, when we first came out with our high power system, it had 50 kilowatt power modules that weighed over 270 pounds. And so you had 4 of those in a tower, and if one of them happened to go bad, you needed 2 technicians, a forklift to change it out. It was very difficult. Now we've really focused our new designs, the Gen 4 design, on not only reliability, but also ease of maintenance.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. Because, like,
Yes.
I mean, you know, I work in IT. You're going to have failures no matter how resilient you make something. But having something that's easy to maintain is critical. So, like, you don't have to wait for the forklift and the second technician to become available.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, if one of the power modules goes bad, it's 15 kilos, so about 33 pounds.
Oh, wow.
One guy could pop out the bad module, put the new one in less than 20 minutes.
That's amazing.
Because everything is designed almost like a server, a rack server, where it's all pre-wired. You just pull it out, pop the new one in. If you look inside some of our power enclosures, you'll see how it was designed so it would be easy to maintain.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's something you got to think of, because, you know, we have probably the best service and maintenance technicians in the market, but we can't service all of the chargers we sell. We'd have to probably expand our reach or our resources fourfold.
Yeah.
So that's why we also developed I would call it industry-leading training program, where we train anybody who wants to be trained on our equipment then they become certified to work on BTC Power hardware. And it's so popular, they sell out, so to speak, because we have one open training session a month, months in advance. I think now they're booking June or July because it's such a popular, we get a lot of maintenance organizations, and you really need to have something like the training program we have so that you have very knowledgeable, very skilled people out there working for our clients, fixing our hardware if they would happen to have a fault.
Yeah, even you know, again, I'm in IT, so like we have companies that have their own certification program. So charging manufacturers have to have their own charging because it just makes things more efficient for them to be able to get in quickly, get these things up and running quickly, and just provides a better overall experience for me as the EV driver when I know it's going to be fixed quickly.
Correct. And, you know, we have clients like Ford who are right over there. When a Mach-E or when a F-150 Lightning comes off the production line, it charges at a BTC Power charger at Ford facilities around the country and even Mexico. And it was very important for us to have a good training program because we can't constantly send technicians to Mexico if they would happen to have a fault. So we train the Ford people down in Mexico on our chargers so they can become self-sufficient and, you know, better uptime, faster turnaround if there was a fault. And, you know, those chargers, you know, they work 2 shifts. So they're constantly charging 16 hours a day out of 24. Matter of fact, they probably have a higher utilization than any charger here in the U.S. that, you know, that's at a retail site.
Probably a good way to get some data on a high utilization charger. Yeah, that's really cool.
You know, they cycle through connectors. You know, the connectors are made to go 10,000 cycles. They go through that in 9 months. So they're constantly, you know, having to, you know, provide new connectors. Just because they've reached the end of the useful life.
That's really interesting. Like something I learned today. So, well, this shows why I wanted to talk to you because like you have a lot of experience in the charging industry, a lot of experience with BTC Power, and you know, thank you for sharing a little bit of that with us today. I love the story.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now we're going to meet with Ray, and you are here. Your dad is one of the co-founders, but not just you. There's a lot of opportunities for BTC Power bringing people into the company through like internships and giving people an opportunity. And that's sort of how you got started. I mean, your dad was there, but you started sort of the same way, right?
Yeah, no, I was really lucky. I started with an internship in the warehouse. And yeah, for the past, I've worked here for 5 years. And yeah, so for the 5 years ago, I started testing units and shortly moved into the warehouse, driving the trucks, actually delivering the units.
Oh, that's cool.
And transporting them to and fro and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a very unique place where, you know, college students can actually come and work and, you know, we understand that you're a college student and stuff like that. So if you're only available to work part-time, for some positions, the company is really flexible with that. And that really enabled me to, you know, pursue my education full pace, which was good. And it actually enabled me to come back to the company after I completed my degree and actually apply for positions that were open.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And it, like, already that sounds really neat because it isn't like you were like, you know, I'm going to be a DC fast charger engineer, so that's all I'm going to do. Like, driving, testing chargers, driving trucks. And I've heard that from others that I've already talked to, that it's like, you know that if you're coming with BTC Power, you may have multiple hats. Like,
oh, yeah. No, I think that's one thing that a lot of people that work at small companies, they really understand. Here at BTC Power, it's no different. Everyone has, since the beginning, has always worn multiple hats. Yeah. And it's just a way of life here.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop at like the low levels. From what I understand is like even some of the people that have been around for, you know, 15, 17 years, they'll go out and check out a charger and, you know, just like everybody does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that kind of says about that situation is that it allows people to really shine through where their skills really do shine. You know, we don't hesitate from giving, you know, the qualified person more responsibility. And
That's cool.
yeah, people at BTC Power are empowered by their managers, and like what you're saying, all the way up to the C-suite to really like discover yourself and really push yourself to see what you can do and add value to the company and to the world, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's a strength, because I think we've all been in those jobs where it's like, this is your responsibility, don't deviate outside your lane. But
yeah, you're not paid to think.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's really cool. And I know you're just starting in your career with BTC Power, still relatively young.
Oh yeah.
What was it like, you know, having your dad being one of the co-founders?
You know, it's got its pluses and minuses like everything. But to be honest, it's really unique because, you know, everyone likes to say that where they work is like a family, but yeah, I of course really feel that here because I have seen, you know, a lot of the people have families or raise families and even have their children come in and work alongside them. It's a really unique situation.
Yeah, it's neat because, like, again, like I've been at other companies and they talk about like, we're all about family, but what they mean is like, come consider us your work family, so you don't get to see your other family. But yeah, long story short, it sounds like it's a really nice atmosphere.
Absolutely.
In a place that people want to work.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, even with my unique scenario, I feel like my perspective is not unique. If you ask other people in the company, I feel like a lot of people do appreciate that it is this type of work environment where, you know, whether you're having a hard day or not, you can still communicate, and the mission is clear. We have a clear mission, and that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot too. Like when everybody understands the mission, everybody's working together, and you have a little bit of that family element built into it, it makes it a lot easier that when, you know, you got to get past a certain deadline or whatever, everybody's in it together. So that's, you know,
yeah,
really
there's something special about when things get hectic and, you know, everything's flying around the room kind of thing, and you can rest assured that everyone is on that same they're on that same path, whereas other places you might not be I forget the word, but you might not be in sync as a company.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Whereas BTC Power, you know, we're not in sync every day, but you can really feel it during the hard times. That that the mission is, we're all focused on the same mission.
It's like a real family. Not to be cheesy, but that's sort of it. Is like, you know, you may dispute over little things, but like when the times get really tough, if you're a family, you stick together. So really cool.
Yeah, no, and even speaking more to that, you know, it's nice to be able to say your 2 cents and be heard from your superiors. Whether they take that advice or not, it's still good to really round yourself off of the way you're thinking. And they might tell you, hey, it's good here, but bad here, and give you an opportunity to go and execute on it too.
Yeah, because I think that's something else that I appreciate by the good leaders that I've had is like, I may have my suggestion, and rather than punish me for having a suggestion, like say like, well, this is why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And it becomes a learning experience instead of a punishable experience.
Yeah, and maybe even giving you a starting point after they give you a correction and say, hey, look, this is, you know, throw this out, but let's start here and see where you can take it. That's not a lot of places do that. And it's nice to be able to do that.
That's so cool. Well, thank you for sharing that aspect of BTC Power. I think it's really fascinating. And as any of us that have like worked a significant amount of time in any job, we know that it's hard to find a place that has really good chemistry. So it sounds like you guys have it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Of course.
Well, I had to have Liv join me for this outro portion of the video, but it was a super fun day. Liv's been behind the camera directing us and like getting us in the right position, but
I have a lot. It's crazy at these expos. The Advanced Clean Transportation Expo is awesome. There are tons of people, so there's a lot going on, and it was awesome to see tons of people here at the BTC Power booth. I'm so thrilled that we got to learn about them and also spend so much time hanging out with them, because it really is a community. There's a vibe of a business that's grown with families, through families. It has kids, parents, all that. And it's really, really awesome that we got to learn about their history. We have a lot more coverage with them coming up.
yeah, I really, really, really want to go visit their facility because it's very close by, close to us. Like it's about an hour from our house. So I'm excited to see that and see the lab and their training facility, all of that good stuff. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when that video comes out. And we have, of course, lots of other cool stuff from ACT Expo, as we've been told it's called.
ACT, ACT, whatever. So on that note, thank you so much for joining us for this video as we showed you all about BTC Power and got to know all of the people working there. So many more to meet. We will. But just remember that whatever you drive and however you charge it, enjoy the ride.
Bye.